What I'm going to do is walk you through everything I've learned in the last half a year straight razor shaving from beginning to end. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and you'll get different things if you see different websites or watch different videos. This is the way I learned how to do it, the way that I figured it out. Try whatever works best for you, but this is what works for me, and I wanted a video like this when I was learning. So I'm going to show you what you'll need. You won't necessarily need this, but the best thing to do is to have a soap brush and a soap puck and a bowl to have it in. Now, some people will start lathering their stuff up here and move it over there, but I keep it all self-contained right now. And then what I do at the beginning, before I even shave or sharpen my knife, is I take hot water, make sure this is hot, start to wet this down, put some water in here, and just let that soak up the water while you do other stuff. Another thing that you may need at the end is called a styptic pencil. You can find them at any store, really, like Walgreens or whatever. Basically what it does is if you cut yourself pretty good, you get it wet and you stick it on there, after about 30 seconds, it'll stop the bleeding. So this is what it looks like. And then afterwards, you'll need, like after shave, astringent type stuff. I like this stuff. It's Shea Moisture Shave Tea Tree Aftershave. And then face lotion. And then towels to keep everything dry. So before you start shaving, what you're going to need to do every time is strop your razor. Now, I'm going to use the Dovo Solagen, like I got you. The thing to remember on all this is everything that you do, 2 words, tight and light. So when we go over and do the stropping, we're going to do it real light. And then you need to do this before every shave. Now what it doesn't do is sharpen it. What it does is there's little comb-like teeth here, and as you shave, it bends those teeth. So what you do when you strop it is you actually get those things back in line. So we'll come over here. This is what's called a strop. You can get them in 2 inches, 3 inches. They're different ones. This webbing is what you'll start out with, and then the hard or the rougher back, and then the smoother front. What I got this from was Straight Razor Designs, and they do a really good job. You can have it here. Some people have it against the wall so it's flat. Whatever works for you. I like it at an angle. And then what you can do when you do it is straight on or to the side, whatever works best for you. The key is go slow at the beginning, because what you're going to do is if you go too fast, you're going to nick up your strop. So you can see where I've actually got it a couple of times. And this part's further down, so I haven't messed with it. But up here is on my glide path. So if you ever take a chunk out, just get real fine sandpaper and sand it down. So what you're going to do before you shave is go 8, 15, 50 is the way I remember it. So we'll do 8 on this harder one, 15 on this, and then 50 on the other one. And 1 down and 1 back counts as 1. So if you have a 3-inch one, the blade's going to sit flat against it and you go back and forth. But if you have a 2-inch one, what you'll want to do is do an X type motion. And when you're doing this, it's really light, so you're just resting the weight of the blade on here and going back and forth. And then tight, you want to keep this tight. Now you don't have to try and rip it out of the wall, be so tight, but when you're doing it, you want to have just a little bit of give versus having it like this. If you have it soft like that, what you're actually going to do is roll the blade, make it so you can't even shave. So the other thing, and you might have saw me do that, is when you're going, when you get to, you start here, when you get to about however far that is, flip it on its spine, this back part, and never on the blade. So you always want the sharp part trailing as you do it, and do it, slow at the beginning until you get used to it. So do your X shape, but you're going to do it 8 times. And as you get faster, you'll get to where you can, just like a pencil, use your thumb to flip it back and forth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we move up to this leather one here. 1, 2. And again, what I'm doing is really just going like this. And start out slow until you get practice and you can do this. It's just light, light, light. And then your final one, this is 50 back and forth. And this is the key to kind of help straightening everything out. So, and what you'll find as you do it, once it gets really sharp, it'll actually start giving you some feedback. It'll start grabbing. You get kind of a tugging or grabbing feel on it. And that's just it being really sharp. If you get to a point after about 6 months, and it's not ever getting sharp, then you need to have it either sharpened by a pro, Straight Razor Designs can do that, or learn how to do it yourself. So I sharpened this beforehand, so I don't know if I'll do a full 50. I can feel that tug. Now I forgot to mention this earlier, but Dovo recommends not stropping for 24 to 48 hours after you actually do your shave. So I'm a big believer in it. That's why I've got 3 of these. So I can use one a day or one every other day. With this, as you're doing this, there might be a little bit of leather that gets in there. So I always just wipe it off. Can't really see it, but I've got OCD. All right, so you have this all sharpened. It's ready to start shaving. So what you need to do is get the foam going. So we had the water in here kind of soaking it up. You want just a little bit of water still on this. And you'll see this is kind of dripping. You just give it light flicks, 1 or 2. And then this is an art form. It takes a long time to get to where you can do this consistently. It also depends on the type of soap. But you don't want to push down to where you're bending and breaking these, just a little bit of pressure. And anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds. It'll start looking like whipped cream and it'll give those little peaks. So you just go, 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 go. And the more you go, the more soap and air will create and foam. Just keep going and going. Round and round. All right, so that's getting close. We'll see when we put it on the face how it does. So there's that, and we're almost ready to go. So I'll tell you that as we walk through, there's 2 ways or a couple ways of holding it. When I first started shaving, I held it with 2 fingers here, and I still do that sometimes on the rougher, the thicker hair. It gives it a little bit more that when this kind of pushes back. Typically what you want to do is like this, 1 in front and 1 in back. Just like that. So get used to holding it around the house so you get used to it. And then as we go, some people say 30-degree angle. You're going to find out what works best for you. But you don't want it obviously straight on. And the other thing, so I like to do just a little bit more than a 30-degree angle. That's what works for me. The other thing is you got to make sure to pull it tight. My father-in-law says it's like grabbing the jaw and putting it over the eye. Just hold it tight so when you're doing that, it gives it a good tight surface. If you don't do it tight, you're not going to cut yourself most likely, but you're also not going to get a close shave because it's going to create a ravine right before you do that and it's not going to cut it off. So let's get started. I still cut myself all the time, so if you see me cut myself during this, it's normal. What you want to do when you start applying this is I only do half the side because my face will start drying out before I get to this and then it just hurts. So you want to do it in circles. And what you're trying to do is get in and under the hair. And just whatever you think you can shave in a reasonable amount of time. Just little circles. Again, you're not pushing down to break it. You're just a little bit of pressure. Circle, circle, circle. And then what I always do is kind of just go against the grain. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Don't shave for a couple days. Get to know your face, where your grain grows. Mine always goes down pretty much everywhere except for right on my neck where it goes sideways. As you see, when I do this part where it goes sideways, this is too big. I haven't really learned how to do that. I'm not sure I want to. So what I'll do is I'll pull it real tight and kind of go to diagonal. So, all right, so for everything that you do when you shave, you're gonna be pushing it, pulling it up, except for this very first part. And the reason why is you wanna figure out where you want your sideburns and just take a little bit. If you pull it up, you'll get like a circle thing going. So, just enough, just right there, okay? And it's light, and you can do either long strokes or short strokes. I do long strokes on my cheek, and then shorter strokes down here. I don't know if you want to come around here. All right, so we'll get started. Now, not only do I pull it up tight here, but I also move my jaw. You want it as tight as possible, and this is light. Careful, if you got a pimple like I do, it'll cut it open. Now, if you're just starting out, that's good right there. Just do that for a couple of days until you get used to it. And then go, to the other side or wherever you think you can go a little bit further. Now you can see I'm kind of moving my hand and my face while I'm doing that. After the soap builds up a little bit, I like to wash it off and then lightly just go across here to get any other soap buildup. Spine always first. Here's the neck. What you may want to do is keep getting a spot, but if you've got the soap away, don't keep going after it. You can always re-soap and try and go more. Now when I do the chin, it's tough because you can't really just do a smooth around the chin. So I figure a point where I'm going to start doing it and then go further down. As you get into shaving, you see I got a cut right there and one right here. Be careful about when you place your blade on your face. When you start at the beginning, a lot of times people will say just lay it flat and then rotate it up. I won't be paying attention and I'll put the blade right on, cut it right off the bat just because I'm not paying attention. You can see I'm pulling my lip up. Get this as tight as possible. And see what I mean about the soap starting to dry out? Careful with that part, that's always a pain in the butt. And here, because it's a little bit tougher hair, switch to the 2-finger approach. Okay. So that's the first side. I got pretty much this one little angle. So I'll wash this off. See how much hair we got off? That's gross, but it's a good thing to see. Wipe that off. And then, like I said, get this other side. If this is dried out, you can always add water, but you'll want to do the same thing. Don't rush this part. Make sure to do circles. Get in good here. Ideally, you will have wanted to shower or a hot towel, or even just the end of the day. Wash your face, just so your hair is a lot smoother. Now your natural inclination is going to want to be like, oh, I just use my right hand and do this. No. Learn how to do them both sides, it's a lot easier. So do the same thing, we'll find where we want our sideburn. Just a little bit to clear it up. Okay. Grip it. This part I've always had trouble with. I don't know really how to work it, so the way I do it is I just push on this and push my Adam's apple out to try and make it flat. Okay. So it took me a long time to get to where I can do this pace, but you'll get there with practice. Now we're gonna get the around the lip. This is kind of tough. It takes a little bit. What you're gonna do is basically lay this flat against your nose, and as you're coming down, twist. Try and get it as, at that angle as soon as possible, but start it that way. If you have, like most razors, you'll have a rounded edge. There's another point called a Spanish point, which is squared off. I don't recommend using those because those will cut your face pretty good. So you can also use that to kind of get inside your nose so you can get from here on down. All right, so what we'll do is the face. Now a little warning here. When you're paying attention to here, careful of the tip of the blade is likely to go into your chin and cut that. I've had that happen before. All right, so that's the first pass.
Or your cheek.
Huh? We're right down there. So, pretty smooth first shave in the beginning, but what you'll want to do is go down and then go crossed where you can, and then you'll do up to get the smoothest shave. Now you've removed a lot of stuff already, so what I do is I go ahead and do everything all in one fell swoop. Most of your hard work's already done for you. Okay. And here it's okay to kind of just use the one hand. And we're just going sideways. You'll get floating hand syndrome like I do when you're paying attention to this. Clean up these areas here that were hard at the beginning. All right, and like I said, I can't go across down here as of yet, so what I'm gonna do is go up. Now the only two areas that I don't ever really go up are in the mustache area, because you're just asking for trouble there, and same way with this top part of the chin. So, now if you ever see the straight razor, the old razor that the Japanese use, it doesn't fold like ours does. It's a straight one, kind of like this. And that's how I do this side of my face, is I'll keep it straight. Now careful, this is why they call this a throat slasher. even going both ways, you can hear there's still hair being pulled up and cut. Okay. And then when I get to this side, I just fold my razor at a really good angle and do it like this. Whatever works best for you, but this is the way I do it. Alright, so now what people say typically is, oh, wash your face with cold water to close up the pores. And what I've learned to do is actually wash it with warm water to help get some of that soap out. And then I can feel around to see where there's still some hair that I can go back and touch up. So I'll do that now. I'm just kind of feeling where, right down here, I still feel some stubble. And then you'll see as I do this, some soap will actually run down the blade. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of white. And that's all that soap that was piling up inside your skin when it was drying out. Alright, I think that's good. So I've washed it off. We'll talk about drying this here later. Now I don't have any cuts, fortunately. But if I did, I'd wet this styptic tin and put it on there. So we have our hot water still. What we want to do is wash this off. So just kind of run it under water. Now what you'll do is squeeze and gently pull. See all that soap that comes out? Kind of like a paintbrush. You don't think you have any paint left, and then it all comes out of there when you're trying to dry it out. So you have that. You just want to make sure you don't see soap. Kind of squeeze out the excess water. Take your hand to cover the mirror and just flick it a couple of times. And always hang dry it. So if you don't have one of these to hang dry it, make yourself one or do that. Now this is why people will typically sometimes lather up and then switch there to foam it up. Look at all that extra stuff that we're washing out. Fortunately, shaving soap's pretty cheap, so I don't bother with it too much. Alright, now here, while my pores are still open, I use this stuff to kind of, this is where you'll feel the sting. And just kidding, of course, you shouldn't feel too much sting unless you cut yourself. Alright, so I let that do that thing for a couple of seconds. Now what I'll do is dry the razor. This is pretty important because if you don't dry your razor properly, it'll get water stains on it. And those can't be scraped off with a nail or wiped off. Some people call it patina to be nice. So what you'll do again is grab the spine of the razor and basically squeeze down on everything, because remember, except for the very edge, because remember this very edge is fragile. I do that to dry it off. Just a little bit of 1-2. Then get down here. Now what I do is when I'm ready to leave or whatever, whenever I get done shaving, I leave it open, because you want to think about it, but there's water still inside of here, that if you close it up, it's gonna get on there. So I just set it somewhere where it's dry. I'll show you a good example of patina. So I think you can see it right there. So that was where I learned by closing it too early, water compiled up there. And it doesn't feel like anything, and you can't scrape it off. So there's some right there as well. This is a Rolf Ost. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but these are the sharpest razors I've ever dealt with and have cut my face many times. I really like this Boker Tree brand, the Celebrated. Really good blade. Probably my favorite. And then I like the Dovo. It does a pretty good job too. Alright, so we've done that. Now I'm going to put cold water on my face to help close up the pores. Dry off my face again. I mean, I know I got an ugly mug, but I think that's a pretty good shave. So, and then the final thing you want to do is, because we shaved off a lot of dead skin, basically, the top layer of skin. I mean, this is going to be the smoothest shave you've ever had. So you want to make sure to take care of your face and put some lotion. So this is Every Man Jack. I'm trying this. It seems to be good. It's face lotion and post-shave signature mint. A lot of times a cologne will have it. You can buy them separately. You know, go with whatever scent or non-scent you like. Just a little bit. And then rub it in your face. And that's how you straight razor shave. It's going to take a long time to learn. In fact, you'll get so frustrated like I did and you go back to regular shaving for a couple weeks and then try it back again. You're like, oh, I'm a pro at it. So just keep at it. You remember two things, light and tight. Other than that, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy.